One more. What's going on, everybody? Welcome again to another episode of the Straub Sports Show. Big bro Ken here. Little bro rocking with you as well. Little bro, how are we doing?
Since our last show, this has probably been the most roller coaster week of sports I have ever experienced.
Man, you're not lying.
Guardians come back on Thursday and Saturday. My Bearcats win on Saturday, so it's all looking up. And then Browns do Brown things on Sunday. And the Guardians start off just the worst way possible. And then it all comes back, and we're right back where we are last night, and we'll get into it. But it's on the way up, and let's hope it stays going up because, Lord, my heart can't take much more.
No, not at all. Obviously, as you see, all the Guardians gear rocking. Lucky's rocking his hat. I was rocking my hat. Jose's in the building. We're definitely going to talk about the big Guardians game from last night. The whole entire reason we moved the show back a day. Of course, Mom, you rocking with your favorite guys, always here. And who are we? We're the Straub Sports Show. Thank you for joining us on the 216 Sports Network, whether you're on the Facebook page and you follow and like us there, or you're one of our 5.15, that number's correct, I double-checked it, 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube page. We appreciate you. The 216 Sports Network, that's where you can find everything. 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth, which I talked to owner of the 216 Sports Network, Mel, yesterday. 4th and 15 will be back in regular rotation coming very soon. I will be doing a special bet segment for them. Stay tuned on that because Big Bro's Big Bets last week was amazing. The Jay Rich Show, which we've talked about, is going to be making its comeback here as basketball season return. The Rulers Minute with Rico McGee, always dropping for you throughout the week. Outside Interference, and of course, Straub Sports Show. Straub Sports Show, you can find us everywhere and anywhere you want to find a podcast. On Twitter at Straub Sports, TikTok at DSBSS, at Straub Sports Show on Instagram, and the Spotify Straub Sports Show Instagram page blowing up. And I want to give it some love. It's officially blue checked. All right, yeah. The Facebook page and the Instagram page are officially blue checked. We are officially
the graphic.
Yes, baby. We're official like a referee with a whistle. Make sure you're checking out that Instagram page because there are major interviews dropped. We've got 2 out of 4 because the Rapids did sign another quarterback. 2 out of 4 of our quarterback series for the Rapids have dropped. Multiple other player interviews. I mean, we dropped Jordan Jones's quarterback interview with the Rapids, and it did 1K overnight. So make sure you're checking those out. Those things are blowing up big time. And make sure you're checking out our friends of the show. Create Your Own Wave Apparel. My guy Austin, CYOWapparel.myshopify.com, and make sure you follow them on Instagram at Create Your Own Wave 2021. I say it every week, and it sounds redundant, and it sounds like I wrote it down, but it's off the top of the dome. The stuff Austin's putting out is just. It's sick. I don't know what is skibbity. I don't know what word you kids use nowadays, but because we used to call it raw. Okay, we used to call it raw. Okay, but y'all don't like that anymore.
What are you? I am 23 years old. What do you think? How young do you think I am?
I'm talking to the youth right now. I'm not talking to you. Okay. So
yeah, the youths aren't listening to you, old man.
Yes, they are.
Let's do a proper promo here.
Check out that fire stuff that Austin's got going on. You leave me alone, Straub. And
good Lord,
your official Falls Rapids broadcast team. That's the Straub Sports Show. I'm gonna update next week's graphic with the guys who have signed. They did some major signings on both ends of the ball, and a kicker, Straub, and a kicker.
Ooh, baby.
So we will definitely be checking out those. Me and Straub are going to be in attendance at Lyft tomorrow. We're going to be grabbing a whole bunch of interviews to store up so we can get them out to you. But make sure you check out the Falls Rapids. I'm not going to spoil anything yet, but we have a home field for our first year. And all I have to say is it's bleeping epic. But we will touch on that more when it becomes official. I'm not here to spoil any news. But that'll do it for our friends of the show. Marzinski, thanks for joining us live this week. We will definitely run you down when we get to soccer. Don't you worry, big guy. But we appreciate it. All right, Straub, let's get rolling. Let's start with the news. And I'll be honest, I really only have one set of news to talk about. And it's to send my well wishes to Aiden Hutchinson for a speedy recovery after fracturing his tibia and fibula Sunday against my Cowboys, where they absolutely just demolished us. Crazy Lions head coach Dan Campbell says they are not ruling him out for a return this year. Aiden Hutchinson is as crazy as Dan Campbell, so I don't know, but that doesn't even sound reasonable. But Aiden Hutchinson, I wish you all the best, my guy. Please, please, please get better. I don't want to see anybody hurt. I don't care if you're beating on my team or not. So that's all I have for news. Do you have news?
No, listen, we got enough to talk about. I think we're good to go.
We absolutely do. So let's start it off by giving away some awards, and let's start with the Boneheads first. Our John Fisher of the week. And as always, I get to go first on this one. This one's pretty easy, man. And I'm going to keep it home. Home for me. My John Fisher of the week is a fellow owner, Jerry Jones. Yeah, my Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones, who spent his birthday watching our team get demolished by another NFC contender in the Lions, 49-7, 49 to, I don't even know what the final score was, a lot to nothing. Then
I have it in the thing, so we'll put it up.
Appreciate that. Then after that was it. I had Jerry already written in for John Fisher of the week. He was good to go. But then Jerry doubled down on stupid. He went on his radio spot on Tuesdays that he chooses to go on, that he set up, and ripped the host because they were about to ask him if the 3-3 start could be attributed to the lack of aggressiveness in the offseason, which is half to 3/4 true. I'm not going to lie. But Jerry went off, said he's not there to dissect his every decision, or not there to dissect every decision he does or doesn't make. They are not there to ask those questions, and he'll get someone else to ask the questions or ask the right questions if not. Clown shit. Clown shit, Jerry Jones, flat out.
Can I ask, what are the right questions that he's looking for? If not about the team and about his decision making, what else do you want to talk about when you're 3-3? Like, that's kind of how that works. When you are underperforming and you are below expectations, you are going to be asked about what your decisions were. So I don't know what kind of questions he wants. Does he want to know what he had for breakfast this morning? Because no one wants to know that.
He wants all softballs. He wanted to just he wanted to Bill Belichick it. Let's just move on to the next week. And man,
then
you
say
can't
that.
fire.
Don't go off.
You can't fire Jerry. He's still owning the damn thing. Shout out to Daniel, owner of the Falls Rapids, for rocking with us as he does every week. But yeah, you can't fire the guy when he owns the team. Trust me, I wish I could. But yeah, there's nothing that they could have asked him. The questions were fair. Go ahead, Jerry. Fire those guys. Hire the Straub Sports Show as the guys to ask you the question as a lifelong Cowboys fan and see if those questions get any easier, because they won't. Hi, I'm already angry. It's 9 minutes into the show. All right, your turn.
Yes. So we'll talk about this later.
Yes, we will.
Because from what we said, the U.S. had a couple games this past week, and they were a little lackluster, not going to lie, but some missing pieces and some missing just cohesiveness off a new coach. That typically happens when you start off. It's the John Fisher of the week is not for those guys or anybody there. It is for every pundit, and specifically Alexi Lalas, Casey Keller, and Gary Neville for his England take, trashing on their new national team managers.
Mm-hmm.
Because Alexi Lalas and Casey Keller berated new U.S. manager Mauricio Pochettino for allowing players to go back to the club, saying this, quote, load management is detrimental to the team with such short time before the World Cup. Now, I have a couple of things to say about that. First of all, most, if not all of these players had small injuries that needed to be evaluated and wouldn't have played regardless. So that's beside the point. But secondly, when has Alexi Lalas or Casey Keller played, one, as many games, two, in as many big competitions as players like Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie? Alexi Lalas, you played 35 games in a top 5 league your entire career. Never once sniffing a European competition. And Casey Keller, I get it. You played in more games. But if you're telling me that you could quantify the workload of a goalkeeper and a forward and make them equal, you can absolutely get lost. That is absolutely utter ridiculousness. And you are just upset that a coach with a mindset of an actual championship mindset is doing things differently than you can.
Holy shit, I love when you get mad.
Secondly, and this is to Gary Neville.
That would be third. Go ahead.
Third, Manchester United English fullback Gary Neville decided to speak his mind on the New England manager Thomas Tuchel, claiming hiring a non-English manager should, quote, be left behind. English fans and English players and pundits are so bold for a nation that hasn't won a World Cup since the 60s and has never won the Euros. The best English manager available in today's game is Frank Lampard and Graham Potter. Thomas Tuchel is miles behind both, better than both. And to suggest you are better than a foreign manager who can actually win you big tournaments because of some either English pride or foreign hatred is absolutely baffling to me, and I can't stand it. And that's why they are, because it is pure and utter just buffoonery that they have these takes and that they have a microphone to begin with.
Holy shit, scorched earth right now. I don't know if I want to. I don't want to know if I want to clip that because I don't know if we want all of the smoke that would be coming back our way. But hey, Big Bro's always ready for the smoke. Yes. I completely agree with you. I never have a problem with anybody taking shots at Alexi Laws because that man talks like he is God's gift to American soccer when he's not. He wouldn't even be an Avenger. And there's like 400 of those dudes, and he wouldn't even be one of those. So he needs to tone it down. Basically what this boiled down to, and we're going to break this down in a lot longer form at the end of the show. These guys were mad we threw the game against Mexico. Yes. A bunch of these guys who live and die on not actually winning cups and tournaments, but beating Mexico are mad that for the first time in, 3 years, we finally lost to Mexico. Oh my God. Poch is trying to win a World Cup. He doesn't care about his record against Mexico, but we'll move on. Whew, man. You scorched earth there. So are you gonna be able to turn it around?
I'm good. We're good.
Okay, let's get happy. It's time for our honorary Straub Bro of the Week, presented to you by Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Don't ride the wave, create your own, and become a Straub Bro of the Week. Take back over.
And you know what? I hate that I'm doing this. I have multiple again because I was so sad when I was making this because the Guardians hadn't won that I made multiple to make myself feel better. First off, Ashton Chauncey, obviously, 31 carries, 217 yards and a touchdown. Total stats throughout the year, 1,248 yards and 17 touchdowns through 6 games. Unreal. Second is to Jordan Mott. Now, who is this? This is a Penn State fan. Now, I know I give Penn State a lot of smack, but this particular Penn State fan decided to basically misuse USC's ability to allow fans to run up on the field with the team during home games. Now, it is a little expensive, but Jordan paid the fee, dressed up in all his Penn State gear, and ran out where all the fans are behind USC. But what makes it even better is because both teams were out the same tunnel, he basically led out the Nittany Lions onto the field against USC where they ended up winning, which we'll get into, which I think is super, super cool. And I hope he thought about that beforehand, and that's why he made the decision. But I think that's cool. I think that's my Straub Bro of the Week because sticking it to USC and by using their own policy against them and leading out the team is fantastic.
Listen, you had me at stick it to USC.
Yes. And finally, my Straub Bro of the Week is none other than the man who is not guaranteed, but was told by Kevin Stefanski he would be playing on Sunday, Nick Chubb. And this is not because he's coming back, but for an article that he wrote and published earlier in the week. In the midst of all of Cleveland's troubles, Nick Chubb on Wednesday put out a post describing his injury, his process, how he became the man he is today, but also exclaiming how much Cleveland has cheered on his recovery and how ecstatic he is to return this Sunday. Quote, I can't stop until I prove to everybody that I'm the undisputed best running back in this league, and I definitely can't stop until we get the Browns back to the top of the AFC. It's been too damn long. The whole article is on our page. I reposted it, put it out there if you want to take a look. It's a little emotional for Browns fans, but honestly, it's a good read for everyone else. It's not just, fodder. It's really, really good. I would check it out. He is my Straub Bro of the week, and I hope he is next week because God damn, we need him to be.
You absolutely do. Number one, yes. Like, I read it and it tugged at my heartstrings. I ain't a Browns fan. I love Cleveland though, through and through. So I even love some of you Browns fans. And I will say this: I'm very critical of your fan base because I think you're overrated. I'll be honest. I'll get on Cleveland. I'd host a show on 92.3 radio and say that because you are. However, the way you will rally around guys when they're hurt and they're coming back is very real. So I'm glad he felt that love. He deserves that love. I've made many comments about the fact that you don't deserve him. But I hope he comes back. I hope he comes back big because damn, do you need it?
Yeah.
All right, my turn. And you already know I got multiples. So we'll get through this. First of all, some before we get into it, because we're going to after this segment, but Lane Thomas for the Grand Slam of all ages, followed by, and I won't quote what I wrote on Facebook, but Big effing Christmas, and David Fry, you deserve some love. But I'm going to switch over. We're going back to the footy. A lot of footy in the opening of the show for all the stuff going on. My first actual Straub Bro of the week to the Maldini family for completing the family trifecta in one of the coolest sports accomplishments I have ever seen in my life. With Daniel Maldini, son of Italian great Paolo Maldini and grandson of Italian great Cesare Maldini, making his debut for the Azzurri, that would be the Italian national team, marking the first time 3 generations of family have played for the country's national team. That's
impressive.
Goosebumps. That's as good as it gets, man. If you're a sports family, that's about as high as it gets with all 3 of them winning a championship. And Dad was able to be in attendance for that. And he also made his debut at Inter Stadium, which is where his dad made his professional debut. They connect all together. They get awesome. All right. Ken's going to keep it together for this one. My last one is a very emotional one. I'm not going to lie. First to the Florida Panthers, who showed up to the Columbus Blue Jackets' first home game with blue Gatorade and Skittles, Johnny Gaudreau's favorite pregame items. That was set up by Matthew Tkachuk, who plays for Florida, who wasn't able to be at that game, but sent a message to Columbus and to the family. Then to the Blue Jackets, who just showed all the class in the world. A 5+ minute tribute video to Johnny Gaudreau was played before the game. Beyond emotional, make any grown man cry. I cried. If you didn't see the video, basically the video is interviews with Johnny himself talking about his family, how much they meant to him growing up, and how much hockey means to him. They followed that up by having his wife and kids come front and center as they raised a banner with the number 13 and his name on it as they raised it up to the rafters. And it is a massive banner. It is not a small one. I think it's bigger than most championship banners, to be honest with you. Then in what has become flat out my favorite sports tribute, it is so emotional. It is so riveting to watch. And it's done by the players themselves who feel the most. Both teams took the ice. Columbus left the left winger spot where Johnny played open. They dropped the puck and both teams let 13 seconds run off the clock as the Blue Jackets' 5th line chanted Johnny Hockey. Emotional scenes. His wife had a message that was played right before they took the ice to basically thank the fans for all of their thoughts and prayers and to remember him happily. His mom, his sister, and his sister-in-law were obviously emotional. But his dad stuck with me. just the obvious emotion on his dad that you just see that the man isn't himself anymore. I'm really glad to see that he's helping out with Columbus Blue Jackets practice. They asked him after the night of the tribute, anytime he wants to come out for morning skate, he was allowed. He immediately asked the coach, "Are you skating tomorrow?" Coach said, "Yeah." And he goes, "All right, I'll be there." And was there the next morning. I hope that family can find a way to heal. Much love to their family. And my Straub Bro of the week is to the Blue Jackets organization for literally just being as classy as you can be.
That's a real good one. It really is.
Thank you, brother. All right. Let's talk some Guardians, man. Whoo! It's time to guard the land. I'll put the graphic up. Wow. So, last time we talked, we hadn't quite taken care of Detroit yet, and then we did. Then we started off this Yankee series, and oh wow. 2 disappointing nights in New York. I would probably be honest about that. And then we come out yesterday. We jump out to a 3-1. We get out to that 3-1 lead. We bring in our big dog Emmanuel Clase, and he got rocked. Back-to-back home runs. One to Aaron Judge, the next one to Giancarlo Stanton. But then the Guardians showed some damn magic, and I think that's the only way I can put it. Down to their last out with 2 strikes. Yankenzi Noel, big effing Christmas, hit a ball so far. I don't even know. Like I said, I don't know where they landed. We talked about this last night. I don't know where they landed. Then on top of it, Pedro Avila, who was cut earlier in the year, was traded for cash consideration, comes out and pitches a gem of an extra innings inning. And then David bleeping Fry. Can I get a large fry with a walk-off? No, that's it. Thank you. Bro, talk to me about last night.
There's not a lot to talk about. I think that was one of the most important games to win beside I'm at a loss for words.
Some game in 2016.
The fact that, game 1, right? You go out and you can tell right away they are not putting their best foot forward. They are tired. The bullpen was eaten up. You put out guys that normally don't go out in those high pressure situations. And that was your issue. You lost because you didn't have your best guys out there. And we're like, okay, that's fine. You gave up one game to get your bullpen healthy. Game 2 comes around, and you actually do put out your best squad, and it still didn't look good. And so game 3 at home is, to save your season, the game you need to win. And for the longest time, it looked like we were going there. And then for a brief moment, it looked like your season was basically over. Listen, there was so many fans around the 8th, 9th, bottom of the 9th that left.
I mean, you would know you were there.
Did not think that they were going to come back, and to just pull victory out of the jaws of defeat like they did is something that is rarely seen, and even more rarely seen in a team from Cleveland, to just pull the rug out from under New York. It is one of the most pivotal wins that I have ever seen, and honestly could change this series for the better for us. It was absolutely unreal to see that team rally like that. And I really hope it carries on to tonight.
That was one of the greatest baseball games I ever watched, because as bad as the Judge home run was and the Stanton home run, like, be objective for a second. Those dudes, those two who are their guys, I know Soto is as well, but Soto got the walk. Aaron Judge is supposed to be the MVP of the American League. And the American League MVP stepped up in the top of the 9th and hit a game-tying 2-run home run.
Yeah.
Then their next guy came up and put them ahead. That's And then we turn around and, I mean, Kenzie Noel, and they brought it up during his at-bat, his first hit as a major leaguer, a home run. And then he comes in the playoffs and does it. And then David Fry, that's now 2 game-winning home runs for him. Obviously, this one a walk-off, the one against Detroit, not a walk-off. But, I mean, this team's playing with house money. And this is the key for the Guardians right here. Unlike when you face Detroit, the Yankees bullpen is hittable.
Yeah.
Detroit was running guys out there when we were losing. It didn't look like we could touch them in a cage, throwing bullpen to us. The Yankees are hittable. It's why they can be beat. But the problem is you have to shut their offense down, and it's going to be tense all night tonight. I cannot do another game like last night. Oh, my goodness. But we're still here, man. You take care of business at home. The series doesn't start until the home team loses.
I have a very hard question for you.
Go ahead.
You are hypothetically in a save situation late in the game.
Yes.
Do you continue to trust Clase in these big moments?
In the 9th. I mean, I'm tired of Stephen Vogt running him out there in the 8th.
Do you think it would have made a difference if Judge and Stanton came up in the 9th and he came out?
I'm going to speak ignorantly. So I'm going to say this based on what I have heard from professional athletes. And that is because they play at night, their bodies wake up differently than ours. Sure. If I wake up at 5:30 in the morning to go to work, that's when my body starts to wake up. 6:30, 7 o'clock, I'm rolling. An athlete, they don't get up and get rolling until 7, 8 at night. I don't know what the extra half hour does for Emmanuel Clase. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's having to rush his warm up or what. But this is what I said last night. You are the Guardians. You do not technically have as much talent as this Yankees team. Live and die with your best guys. Our best pitcher is Emmanuel Clase. If he is up and it is his turn, then you run his ass out there and you go. We have had our best hitters up at the plate with guys on base. Jose Ramirez, Steven Kwan, David Fry, Josh Naylor, who's just striking out every time, but he's up there. And our best pitchers are up there with 2 strikes. If you lose with your best pitchers having 2 strikes and your best hitters being up with guys on base, then, man, I don't know. That's how you lose. You know what I mean? You lose with your best. Now, I would say this. I would think about, and I called him Cam Smith, and that's not his name. Cade Smith. I would think about letting him close. But I'm going to overthink it because I'm an emotional fan who just wants to win, and I'm scared shitless. But if I'm Stephen Vogt, what kind of message does that send to your ball? If you don't send Clase out there, I don't believe in the best. I don't believe in the best closer in the American in all of baseball. Now I get it. He gave up 5 home runs all year, and he's given up 3 in the postseason. I get it. But you know what? That is also what happens when you see a pitcher that often. And the one thing that does hurt Emmanuel Clase, and they talked about it on the broadcast last night, because they asked whoever it was, does Clase change because he's seeing guys more? Like other pitchers will try to adapt in the playoffs. And the answer was flat. No. Emmanuel Clase is going to go out there, he's going to throw his 101-mile cutter, and that's that. And he's going to throw it where he throws it and hope guys don't hit it. First of all, Feliz Navidad, gents. Merry early Christmas, Ray. And this is the problem as well. It's a bad matchup, though. So if Stephen Vogt wants to tell his team we're only pitching in matchups, even at the end, that sends a different message than I'm not going to send Emmanuel Clase out there because I'm afraid he's going to give up a hit.
Yeah.
Well, I answered your question out of both ends of my ass.
It is a very tough position for Vogt to be in because you have a guy that is so dominant at times that is having potentially just a small rough patch that could be just fine once he's done with this. But you don't know that.
Right. You don't. Not only do you not know that, unfortunately, closers sometimes are like goalies in hockey. They can go through runs that are so bad, you don't have a choice but to not put them out there. Now, I'm not saying Class A's there yet, but unfortunately, Class A's bad outings are getting sooner and more frequent.
Yeah. And I think this is a big thing here. It's not that he doesn't have a breaking pitch. He's got 2 pitches. He has a cutter and he has a slider. Listen, I get it. Those pitches are great and they work for you. Man, learn a changeup that goes 88 and you are even more dominant.
That's the problem. His changeup is 98.
I think that is your issue. Is you have a guy who is so dominant, and you have to keep putting out there unless you give a good explanation. Because if you just yank him, that's not just going to affect him. That's going to affect your entire team. Because now you are not putting a guy out there with full confidence that he is going to shut it down, and your team has that confidence. You are now putting a guy out there because of either a matchup or because your guy can't hack it, and now your team is jumpy and they're not as smooth, they're not as confident.
But you could also frame it as just strictly a matchup thing. So if it's Judge and Stanton up in the 8th, no, you don't bring Class A in yet. You know what I mean? If they're up in the 9th, maybe I don't know. Listen, at the end of the day, it is also about winning. So there also has to be a point where our manager should be able to have the grasp of his locker room that if he can go to a guy and go, look, Class A, you are my guy, but you're struggling right now against some of these power guys. I don't want to lose this game, so I might not match you up there. I like this as well. Eli Morgan deserves a chance. I know he struggled a little bit last night, but for the most part, he's pitched well. I think Pedro Avila has moved himself up very far in the rotation of guys that are coming out of the bullpen immediately. Obviously, he's not going to be available tonight, and that's going to be the problem tonight. You're going to need to hit tonight because you ran through the gas last night.
And you need Gavin to start off. That is the big thing. You have Gavin Williams, who has not started in 25 days. And then you have, I think, Luis Gil for the Yankees, who has not started in 19 days. And so your key is to jump off of this guy. And hopefully Gavin has enough stuff to make it for a couple innings.
Guys can pitch back-to-back nights. But if you're doing it with a lead and guys only got to go 2 batters, it's a lot easier than pressure situations, tie ball games, or being down.
Yes. Pressure at bats wear on a pitcher more than just regular at bats.
100%. Number one. Number two,
I got a new chair.
You're fine. I guess there is another series going on. I do like this, by the way. And I agree with this 1,000%. We need at least 5.
I mean, I will say.
Go ahead. Say it.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it is going on right now, and the Mets are winning 3-1 in the bottom of the second. So there is some life in New York right now.
There we go.
3-1.
I was going to say, there is another series going on. These teams basically just bludgeon each other in these games. So we'll see if the Mets turn this into a bludgeoning or if the Dodgers can make a comeback. I don't really care about this series. I'm not going to lie. I'm too invested in our Guardians right now. So, all right.
I'm also scared of the Dodgers with how they're just manhandling the Mets.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they're manhandling everybody right now. They pretty much have been manhandling teams since the second game of that Padres series or third game, whatever it was, when Tatis hit the home run and they ain't scored since. But yep, that'll do it for your Guard the Land. Your Guardians and Yankees, the Guardians and the Yankees. First pitch is I think 8:38, or no, I'm sorry, 8:08.
8:08.
Yeah, 8:08. My bad. So check that out. What? Oh, wow. Good call. I didn't catch that.
You said 8:08.
That's all right. All right. NFL scores from last week. We will throw these up just for a second. Obviously, as you see, Brownies lost. Buccaneers with a 50 burger on the Saints. And Washington played well again. Drake May didn't look terrible in his first NFL start as well. There's a score on this end. There's a score on this end we won't really talk about too much. We already talked
There
about
it is, 47-9. I couldn't remember the score.
We scored more points than I gave myself credit for. How about that? And then the Monday night thriller, 23-20, Bills over the Jets. This week, we had a game last night already. Obviously, we're rolling a day late. Broncos blew up on the Saints, 33-10. And then we roll into this week's slate. What stands out to you this week?
So the Lions and Vikings here, I think, is going to be a great, great game. I think you have two hot teams. Sam Darnold coming off an okay performance his last start, and then obviously the Lions doing the Lion things. And so can Sam Darnold, this is going to be a first big test for Sam Darnold, and I really want to see how he compares against this Lions defense. Also, Texans and the Packers, I think, are going to be really good. Two teams kind of on the upswing, and kind of a prove-it game for both teams to kind of see who is a real legit contender in each one's conference.
I agree. I want to flip to the second page. Thank God I'm on a bye. First of all, that could not get any better. I got a nice stretch of NFL picks for you in Big Bros Big Bets that will kind of touch on how I feel about a lot of these games. Devontae Adams makes his debut for the Jets against the Steelers. We'll see how that goes as well. There's no more excuses for that freaking team anymore. Russell Wilson will get the start there in Pittsburgh as well. Chiefs and 49ers in a nice matchup there. And then in a game that was, last year and the year before was like the game of the week, Bengals at Browns in Nick Chubb's return as well. We hope to see
That's the only reason why I'm watching the game.
We hope to see Nick Chubb get off to a fire start there. Rapid fire today. Gonna be a quick show. So anything else you want to touch on the NFL before we start kicking it on the college?
So I know it was reported that Russell Wilson would get the start. Mike Tomlin in a press conference today said he's keeping it to his vest on who he is going to start on Sunday night. And so, sorry, fantasy football fans, you will not know if you have a quarterback this week until 8:00 tonight.
We're going to play it close to the vest. We're just going to keep chopping the wood. We're going to hope to get out alive. I love
Sounds like my time with me.
Yeah, I'll say I love Mike Tomlin and his useless NFL quotes. They're amazing. All right. So we had some college football this week as well.
That we did.
Yep. Get your graphic out the way. My graphics turn. Wrong one. There we go. Put the top 25 up as a whole, so we can kind of just comment on it that way. We got to start at the top. Because it was the biggest thing, it was the biggest news, and it dragged all the way into this week. And that would not be the Red River rivalry that Texas took care of 34-3. That would be Ohio State and Oregon. 32-31, the Ducks win in a game that we watched together. We watched college football this week together, so I know all of your notes. I know what you watched because you watched all 12 games with me, and I killed you watching that many games. But it ended in controversy. Oregon puts 12 men on the field on purpose to make Ohio State throw it into the middle of the field and get a runoff. And then Will Howard pulls off his best Dak Prescott impression and takes off and doesn't get down in time. Thoughts on that game? Thoughts on the controversial ending?
Well, one, for the controversial ending, the NCAA, unlike the NFL, actually acted quickly and changed the rule. So that is effectively not going to happen anymore. And I appreciate the NCAA for doing that kind of thing because they did it with the Kenny Pickett slide rule a couple years ago. And I like how quick they are with changing that and realizing that it's wrong. Yes. But about the game itself, honestly, this was a real good kind of old-fashioned shootout. I can't say really anything bad about either team. They both played good offense, good defense. They both limited turnovers. Oregon just had the ball with the most amount of time. Will Howard, I know, had a boneheaded play, but other than that, he had a really good game. Ohio State's going to bounce back. I think they're going to go further than people are going to think when they get down the stretch. I know you said that earlier in your prediction. But honestly, Oregon, behind Texas, they are my second favorite team now. I love this Oregon team. They are balanced. They bounced back from those shaky results beginning of the year, and they are just built to wear you down and just keep on hitting you with drive after drive to ensure that they can get us just those points. Because Ohio State, good defense, but they just couldn't get off the field when they were on defense, and that's attested to more Oregon than them.
100%. 3 of my preseason predictions went on during this game. Number 1, I said Ohio State would go to Oregon and lose. Box checked. 2, I said Ohio State would then run the table. They look dangerous. That's not a box check, and I also said Oregon was dangerous. Box checked. I mean, yeah, Oregon looks like they can play, and I agree with this. You will see them again. I actually think in the Big Ten championship. But Oregon can play with anybody, man, because that Ohio State defense is legit, and they were running them up and down after they lost one of their best deep threats for one of the biggest boneheaded, stupidest things I have ever seen on a football field. And we had to rewind it because we didn't even know what was going on at the time. I don't remember the kid's name. I'm actually not going to say it because he's a kid and he'll learn. But for spitting on the Ohio State Ohio State D-back or wide receiver. No, it was the Ohio State defensive back. And then getting thrown out of the game. That was pretty stupid. But then from that point forward, and it was funny, ABC put a graphic up that at that time, Tez Johnson was 2 catches for -5 yards, and then he caught the touchdown, and it was on from there. So, yeah, I loved this game. I have no negatives to say about either team, even though I could rattle off a bunch of negatives against Ohio State just for the hell of it. But I think both of these teams showed what they are. I don't think this was a game where – I don't think it was Alabama and Georgia where it was like, oh, man, like Alabama is them, and then they turned around and lost. But I think both of these teams put on a good showing.
I agree.
Your Nittany Lions escaped in overtime to beat USC. I know you have nothing good to say there.
I mean, listen, they avoided the trap game because this is the trap game here. But yeah, I wouldn't say they got lucky, but they rolled into a very young USC team that doesn't know how to hold a lead. And so maybe if USC is a little bit more experienced, Penn State doesn't come back. But hey, regardless, they played what they played. They got the win, and on to the next game. So I'm not down on them because they avoided the game I thought that they were going to lose, if I'm being honest.
That is the most positive you have been, other than
it's about neutral. Yeah, it's about neutral.
Other than giving a Penn State fan Strawberry of the Week, that is about as nice as you have been. Speaking of getting lucky and surviving, who was luckier? Alabama to escape South Carolina, or Tennessee, who had to escape Florida in overtime and then dumped water on their coach and rushed the field?
Like, I get
that should have got a John Fisher of the Week.
Yeah. They had 114 total yards of offense in the first half and 0 points.
Tennessee.
Florida just lost this game, and as soon as it went to overtime, you saw it was over. At least Bama kind of went shot for shot with South Carolina and then kind of put it away at the end. Florida just straight up lost this game. And Tennessee, funny enough, both teams are playing each other next week. So we're going to see who's going to be able to actually kind of get out of this funk because, Lord, both these teams are kind of looking like shells of themselves from the beginning of the season.
Absolutely. Ole Miss and LSU played a great game that I was hoping Brian Kelly would choke away, but it ended up being Ole Miss. Go ahead.
I hate to say it.
Yeah.
I have to give credit to Brian Kelly here.
We do.
They always trailed, but they stayed within striking distance the entire game and then struck when Ole Miss finally slipped up. Nussmeier looks okay, but honestly, LSU needs to look for a quarterback next season just to how little he takes advantage of how clean that pocket is every single play. Shout out, good for LSU. Ole Miss just kind of lost that one at the end. You couldn't stop LSU when it mattered, and good for them.
The rest, as we roll through the top 25, as we get down into the teens or into the tens and teens, a lot of chalk. Clemson, Iowa State. Notre Dame won so damn big that when they went to a weather delay after the beginning of the fourth quarter, we didn't put the game back on. They took care of business and checked that spread box. Appreciate you. BYU, Utah lost Friday night to Arizona State, which was wild. Your Boise State Broncos took care of business. Kansas State and Colorado may have had the second best game or third best game of the night, as the Wildcats outlasted Colorado there. Missouri took care of business. So did Pittsburgh. And then in our there's a lot of great games. Ooh. Illinois in overtime over Purdue, which we called a bit of karma after the Purdue quarterback had scored a touchdown in the fourth and was waving goodbye to the fans. That did not go so well for him in the long run, as I think it was either threw an interception or got sacked on fourth down to lose the game there for them in overtime. But yeah.
Something we rarely ever say. What an offensive showcase by two Big Ten teams.
Woo! And it wasn't Ohio State and Oregon.
Yeah, right. And but two original Big Ten teams fucking showing out. Sorry. But Purdue going for two was a decision that looks bad, but they were riding the hot hand. They don't want to get into a scoring contest with Illinois. It made sense in the moment. You just couldn't convert. It's a genius move. You pull it off. It's a bad move if you don't convert. I understood the thought process. It looked like the offensive line just couldn't block a piece of paper.
We argued about it sitting on my couch. We're not going to continue the argument on the podcast. I disagreed. I said kick the field or the extra point, but I digress. But what can you do? This week, we had some movement in our top 25. Not a lot. I mean, your biggest riser would be LSU up 5 spots and SMU up 4 spots. Your top 4 somewhat remained unchanged. Texas, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State moves down to 4. Georgia, Miami, Alabama, LSU, Iowa State, Clemson, Tennessee, and Notre Dame. I do want to mention something because it's absolutely amazing. Take a look at your 2 debuters down there at number 23 and number 25. Yes, the Army Black Knights and the Navy Midshipmen are both ranked for the first time since 1960. The world is better when our service academies are better at football. So that's all I got to say. And there is potential college football playoff implications for the Army-Navy game. That is as good as it gets. Both teams also play Notre Dame, so that helps. I think we play both of these guys, which is they're both undefeated right now, so that's scary. But all right, let's jump into some of the big games that we do have this week real quick. Straub, number 7 Alabama takes on number 11 Tennessee. Have I started one of these previews with saying it depends on which team shows up? Have I done that before? I think I do that 7 times a week because it literally depends which of these teams shows up. At their best, Alabama wins the game if both teams show up with their best. But Alabama has been shaky now for 2 weeks. Tennessee did the same thing. Lost 2 weeks ago, squeaked out a win this week. Bama's against, of course, South Carolina. Tennessee stormed the field against Florida. I keep mentioning that because it's so ridiculous. Jalen Milroe needs to just flat out play better, and so does the defense. I know I can copy and paste that for Tennessee. I didn't. I almost literally did that. Like copy and pasted it. But whose quarterback plays better? Which defense shows up?
Yeah, and that's kind of how it is because both have an explosive offense. But they've been shown they can get shut down pretty easily with a system that they don't move away from. And so if it gets to the point, which I feel like it will, where both teams are going to be stagnant, it is up to the quarterbacks to make those plays and get their teams out of that funk and spread the field and spread that opposing team's defense. And that's just what's going to be. So honestly, I know the quarterback is the most important position, but this is why, because whoever's quarterback plays better is going to be the team that gets the win.
Absolutely. Now, Alabama also remembers that loss at Tennessee. I think it was 2 years ago. Or no, was that last year?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, which Tennessee drug the goalposts all the way to the river, blah, 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 like SEC teams do. That's on Alabama's mind. So I know it's at Tennessee, but Tennessee doesn't have that, oh, we lose to Alabama every year. This is our year thing. This is now, hey, we're both fighting for our SEC lives now. So we will see what happens there. It's going to be Rocky Top will be lit this week. I'm not sure where game day is. I'm assuming there, but it'll be lit. Our Big Ten big matchup that I know you are just so in love with. Number 24, Michigan at number 22, Illinois. Illinois has a chance to make some noise and officially knock Michigan out of the top 25. Michigan has a chance to once again get up for a top 25 team, mostly because of that insane schedule they have, and they have so many top 25 teams on their schedule. For me, it's Luke Altmaier, Pat Bryant, and Kevin Fegan. Every time we talk about Illinois, the three names I mentioned, what can they do against Michigan's defense? If they can move the ball, they're going to win the game and they're going to outscore Michigan. If they can't, and they give that Michigan running game just a crack of daylight, they are going to run through the wall and they're going to run all over Illinois.
If Michigan wants to have any semblance of a positive season, they need to win this one. And the only way they're going to do it is the way they did at USC. They stuffed the offense with their just killer defense, and then they ran all over them. So if we see that Michigan's got a chance, if they can't get the run game going or their defense doesn't look like it's there, I think this Michigan season is over if they lose this one. Not just over in terms of like not making the college football playoff or not making a bowl game. I'm not saying any of that, but over in terms of just any sort of, okay, post Harbaugh, we're still positive. I can't say that if you don't win this game.
I'm impressed with you and I'm proud of you because that was more than I thought you were going to say about this game based on how you told me you were going to preview it. That's all I got to say there. I know. And I forgot, I messed up. This is where game day is. I apologize. Our big game of the weekend, number 5 Georgia at number 1 Texas. I guess Texas is still good with either quarterback, huh, bro?
Yeah, but I will say this is the test for Texas.
Absolutely.
I know Georgia hasn't been the same Georgia, but they always play well in big games. For Texas to cement its position as the best team in college football, they need to win this game. And as for Georgia, let's see what you're going to be the rest of the season, because 2 losses in the SEC is very tough to even get to the championship. Might as well the college football playoff, considering how many good teams there are this season. So it'll be an interesting matchup because you got one who wants to cement its legacy and one that kind of wants to hang on to its legacy.
I mean, Texas has shown that they can play with the big dogs this year. Can Georgia finally put a complete performance together? Because if not, like you said, they're done, and they're done in the SEC. Or at least going to have a hell of a ride and have no room for error because their 2 losses are going to be within the SEC. They almost needed one of those losses to be a fluke outside of the SEC so that they can still make the championship game. For me, Texas is kind of playing with house money. I don't know if you can name me another team in the country right now who can walk into a locker room and say, these guys can't touch us. And we all say, yeah, you're right. And that includes Oregon, Ohio State, Miami, Penn State, whoever you have up there. I know we just rated Oregon really high, but even then, if I put Texas and Oregon in the same locker room, I'm going, man, we sure Texas isn't going to roll? That's how good they look right now.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So we will see. That's their game. That's a big game there. And if I'm Texas, I mean, Georgia has to worry about their depth already. Texas is kind of like, go ahead, knock my quarterback out. See what happens. I'll bring Arch in this boy and have him start dancing and sneezing and sniffing all over you. Some other big games to run through real quick. Yeah, I know. I did the slime on the podcast. Some other big ones to run through real quick. Tonight, Nebraska at number 16, Indiana, a huge Big Ten matchup. Can Dylan Raiola take down a hotter than ever before Indiana team? I am stupid hyped for this one. I'm not going to lie.
No, not gonna lie, I am.
If Indiana wins this game, they are on the fast track to the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, because they haven't scored under 30 points this season.
Right. Nebraska wins and still only have 1 loss, and all these undefeated teams start dropping, especially considering other than Texas, nobody really looks unbeatable. You can't say that about Oregon. They have looked beatable a couple weeks, but
yeah,
Indiana could be putting themselves in the front running for a college football playoff bowl bid.
Give me that. Give me all of that.
Shout out to former Bedford graduate Roger Saffold, who went to Indiana, graduated from Indiana, then played in the NFL. I know he'll be watching that as well. Another decent game. Number 12, Notre Dame at Georgia Tech. Can Riley throw it? No. But, man, if he can run on this Yellow Jacket defense like he did last week, we will be all right. If not, we'll be done. And this is one of the games that I have worried about all year. We know what Georgia Tech is. A great defense, limited offense. So can my Irish be. They can be the exact same thing. A great defense and a limited offense. If we can whoever runs the ball and can hit a couple downfield passes, they're going to run away with this game.
Yeah, I think it's literally the fact that any semblance of good defense shuts down this Georgia Tech team this year, at least. And so you play decent defense, you should be okay because, this offense is very, very limited. I know they've only lost to Syracuse and Louisville, but those teams have two good defenses. So
yes. And then we did lose another another injury. My team has been decimated this year. They look like an NFL team the way these guys have dropped. But hey, next man up. That's how Marcus Freeman does it. So we will see what happens there. And our last good game of the week that was kind of hit with a sledgehammer when they lost their starting quarterback, but the University of Cincinnati versus Arizona State. 5-1 Arizona State versus UC. Drew, Arizona State lost their starting quarterback this week. So some lines moved, some things were shifted around. Talk to me about this game because I know you're up for it and I know you're nervous as hell.
I'm nervous as hell. I'm up for it. I would not have thought that week 7 or 8, we would be talking about UC in a good matchup on both sides, not just us trying to upset a team. Listen, we were 3-9 last season. We're 4-2 right now. And honestly, if not for a fourth quarter meltdown against Pitt and multiple missed field goals against Texas Tech, this team could be 6-0. And so there's a lot to be happy about.
And you would be ranked.
Yes, so there's a lot to be happy about. Arizona State comes in 5-1, a big upset against Utah. They are missing their starting quarterback. So if the defense can disrupt the new quarterback like I know they can, UC can run their offense. Corey Kiner can run all over them. Brandon Sorsby can just be a pocket passer, do what he does best, make plays. They can win this one. They just have to get to the quarterback. They cannot let Arizona State move the ball.
I agree. When is this game?
It is Saturday at, I think it's early. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I'm pretty sure it's the early game. I have it right here. It is noon on Saturday.
Beautiful. That means you get a screen. You absolutely get a screen on Saturday. Let's go. All right. You ready for this, bro?
Yes.
Are you bleeping ready for this?
Yes.
It's time for Big Bros, Big Bets.
Let's go.
And ladies and gentlemen, check that shit out.
We back.
You damn right we back. We murdered Upset Central.
Yeah.
I did take off a couple of the ones that I didn't actually believe in that were no jokes. So I did edit the graphic a bit. How about the NFL?
I did remove the ones that actually didn't hit. So,
Right, but not in the spread party. NFL running. 5 for 5. Let's talk about that. Booyah. Spread party. Clemson. Thank you. Iowa. You're the shit. Georgia Tech. Appreciate you. Texas. Hook 'em. Go Irish. Western Michigan. Buck 'em Broncos. Syracuse. Big Orange. Kansas State. Tennessee. Penn State. Whatever. Not here for it. But yeah, we hit huge on spread party. Obviously, some big upsets, and our NFL running killed it. Let's keep that hot ass momentum rolling and the big bucks flowing. Let's hit it big time. I went bigger this week. Let's start with your spread party. I have to actually bring up.
I'm favored.
Yeah, the line has shifted. I didn't know if you didn't realize that. Oregon. Minus 30.5 over Purdue tonight. I like it. BYU minus 9.5 over Oklahoma State. I know. I'm a big cray-cray. My service academies. I want to let you in on a little secret. I know Army is favored by a big 16.5 over Eastern Carolina. And I know when you hear Army, you think run the ball, quadruple option, and all that.
Yeah.
Army's covered the spread in every game this year.
Wow.
Let's ride it until it ends. I like Clemson minus 20.5 over Virginia. I like my other service academy. Ooh, Purdue in the points. Okay. All right. He thinks Purdue's going to put them up. I don't know. I think they're gassed, but I like it. Hey, listen, I got no problem with you going against me. But I mean, I'm just gonna do this real quick while you're going against me. Just gonna remind you. Okay. So choose wisely. I like my other service academy. Give me Navy minus 16.5 over Charlotte. UCLA. I know I sound a little crazy, but I like UCLA plus 4.5. I can't find their game right now. But that is what it is. Give me the U minus 4.5 over Louisville. Cincinnati. Yes, brother. The line. I know this scares you, and it especially scares you when they show up in Big Bros Big Bets. That UCLA plus 4.5 is against Rutgers. Yeah, I like that. Cincinnati minus 5.5 over Arizona State. Yeah, and you're minus 205 straight up.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, so buddy. South Carolina plus 1.5 against Oklahoma. Listen, I'm riding and dying with the Gamecocks this year. So if you don't like it, that's fine. But I've been pretty damn good on them. And then I like
this
one.
That's your Maryland this year.
That is my Maryland this year. Give me Liberty minus 23.5 against Riveting Podcast.
Absolutely fantastic stuff.
Minus 23.5 against unwinning Kennesaw State.
Oh, not Kennesaw State.
Yeah, a team I was very high on my preseason, so I'll give myself all the love there. And then Upset Central is fun this week. Tonight, Florida State at Duke. Florida State, come on, baby. Come on. Plus 125. Oklahoma State is plus 2. I have plus 255. That line has moved. It's plus 270 if you like them over BYU. If you think they can save their season. That UCLA number, as you see, is plus 158. And because, man, I'm a sucker for my guy, Coach Prime. Colorado, listen, man, don't even start. They're there, all right, every week. All right, so I don't want to hear it. Colorado is plus 116 over Arizona. I know you guys know how much I do love my Arizona. I know. To battle of the two teams that I really, really like that aren't very good. And then my last one there, Oregon State. If you actually believe Oregon State can get off and get their season back, they play UNLV. So plus 184 on the spread, plus 6.5 on the spread if you like them. And last but certainly not least, my NFL run-in. I'm pretty proud of this one. I think we're gonna hit big here. I like the Bills over.
We just had it up.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Bills over the Titans. I like the Falcons over the Seahawks. I like the Lions over the Vikings. I like the Bengals over the Browns. Sorry, bro. Nice. Eagles over the Giants.
So do I.
Right. Commanders over the Panthers. Give me the Chiefs over the 49ers. And I like the Jets over the Steelers.
You like that little fiery new head coach boost?
I mean, it's not necessarily that. Both defenses are good. I know the Steelers defense is really good, but that offense is incompetent. I don't care who's behind center. And I think the Jets will find a way. And I think Devontae Adams scores a red zone touchdown in his first NFL game with the Jets. Because I think that's here
to talk about it.
I do too. I think that's where they're going to benefit from him the most. And I know I'm stealing it from an NFL pundit, but that's how I feel about that. Also, I will be debuting a Straub Sports Show betting segment on 4th and 15. I'm going to try to incorporate some of these and a couple ones that you will only find there. So check that out as well. That's TBD. I will have more details on it as we go. It's time for some footy. I know Marzinski's been waiting. Marzinski, this is for you. It's time for some footy. All right, bro, let's do it.
Absolutely. Let's get into it. First, the Premier League is back. We are back from international break. And as you can see, we have some matchups here. First off rip, Liverpool in the Sunday 11:30 game takes on my Chelsea at Anfield. I'm not as nervous as I will be in about 2 weeks when I play Arsenal, but yeah, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous for this game.
I would be nervous.
But I will say, I know it's a different coach, so it's a different scheme, but Chelsea and Liverpool games as of recently are always close. They're always good games. And so I am optimistic with how our team is playing. And I know you're going to laugh at me about this. Reece James is now in squad selection. He is able to play. Maresca Esko Maresca, our head coach, has said that you're going to ease him in one game at a time. Do not put him out there right away. So
you so deserve to skip while you were talking about Reece James. I have more cartilage in my knees and more muscle or more muscle fibers in my thighs and quads than that man does, and I can't run anymore. I mean, listen, I'm so shit that any result up at the top.
We're not missing anybody. Everyone's fit.
Sorry, but I'm so shit that any of your results wouldn't surprise me because I just am depressed about soccer right now. My whole mood changed as we switched over to the footy. Manchester United sucks. We're in 14th place. What? Yeah, I know you did. We played Brentford. I'm pretty sure we're gonna play Johnny Evans at fucking left back. Yeah, sucks. Go ahead.
I got some faith in you. I do. We'll see on that one. But, there's some other big games going on. Not a huge game, but it means something to U.S. fans. Arsenal at Bournemouth, because Tyler Adams will be in squad selection for this game. So he is finally going to get back and hopefully get some playing time. Aston Villa at Fulham, not a huge game last year, but Fulham playing a lot better. So a good game. So a good game. And Brighton versus Newcastle, 6-7, I think is going to be a really good game. And I think those are your really key matchups there. There's some at the bottom, but I don't look at bottom table matches until later in the season.
The key for Liverpool is to be careful because both Manchester City and Arsenal play teams towards the bottom of the table, and Bournemouth and Wolverhampton's the bottom of the table. So they have a chance to jump Liverpool if Chelsea can get 3 points or hold them to a draw. And I just want to address this effing comment right here.
Go get Ole back.
Screw you, Sean. Although at the same time, Ollie wanted to sign Erling Haaland and Declan Rice. So maybe we should. I don't know. I don't think it's the coach right now. We are possibly playing Johnny Evans at left back. And we want to talk about coaching. Come on.
Let's move on.
Thank you. Run the show.
Okay. Let's switch over to the MLS. As you can see, there was a couple games. There was a couple games going on during the international break. Columbus Crew did beat New England Revolution 4-0. Everyone else, international break, pretty standard there. So nothing crazy changed there. And for the Western,
except for you put the thing in for Chicago, but that's okay.
Anyways, LAFC beat Vancouver 2-1. Everyone else on international break. And so we move into this weekend, Saturday, being the last and final games of the MLS regular season.
And in the Eastern Conference, they matter.
Yes, big time, because we have clinching scenarios, and I have them here.
Give it to me.
DC United and CF Montreal All they have to do is win or draw, and they are in the playoffs. They are 3 points ahead. They just need that extra result. That is all they need. Toronto, unfortunately, with their minus 21 goal differential, they have to win, have 3 quarters, 3 out of the 4 remaining teams lose, and catch up on goal differential with the last playoff team.
You don't have Toronto with a game.
That is correct. They are actually eliminated. I misspoke there because they actually played their last game last week, so they are done, eliminated. See ya, bye-bye.
But Philly.
So the Philly
and
Atlanta, if they win and either DC United or CF Montreal lose, they will have the goal differential to overtake one of those teams. So all they need to do is win and pray for a loss, which, if you can see, Philly is playing F Cincinnati, which is, not going to lie, an easy win right now. And Atlanta United is playing Orlando City, which is a little tougher, but DC United is playing Charlotte, which is playing good, and CF Montreal is playing New York, which is playing good. So very big key matchups to watch here.
Here's what I like. All 4 teams, DC, Montreal, Philly, and Atlanta, are playing teams that are either in the playoffs already, are playing teams that are in the playoffs already. So you have 2 mindsets. Rest, so we're healthy for game 1 of the playoffs, or let's get some guys minutes and let's get our fitness up and let's get our tempo going and let's get some goals scored so we're ready to go in the playoffs. Now, if you're Philly or Atlanta, you're hoping they rest. You're hoping Cincinnati and Orlando don't want to play guys and they want to rest up for the playoffs. If you're DC and you're Montreal, you're hoping for the exact same for you, but the exact opposite for your opponents. So, and I disagree, Sean. Just because you're in the playoffs and locked up in second place, unlike my first place LA Galaxy. This is the most excited I've been since the beginning of the MLS season. I am excited for this. I will have this locked in on the television. I don't know when these games are. I have to Google them because the MLS does a horrible job. 7:30 Saturday.
I'm almost positive. I have this right here. You can keep talking while I check.
They can have the iPad. That's how I feel about that. Sorry.
Sorry. Bunch of games at 6 and a bunch of games at 9.
All right, it's a little tougher, but we'll make it happen. On the Western Conference side, kind of chalk.
Yeah, but you still have some movement you can do. Seattle and Real Salt Lake can move between each other. Houston and Colorado can move, and Minnesota can move between each other. So honestly, it's what team doesn't want to play the LA teams down at the bottom, and we'll see what happens there. Because both those teams are looking very, very dangerous, and honestly, looks like on a collision course to the Western Conference Finals.
I will point out, because I have to, because I just was talking shit about my LA Galaxy being in the number 1 spot. If the Galaxy were to lose and LAFC were to win by, I think it would be
just
3 goals, or by 2 goals. If they win 2-0 and we lose, LAFC will take your supporter shield and be the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, supplanting LA Galaxy, who have been there almost as long as Inter Miami have been atop of the Eastern Conference. I would not like to see that. I would like to see us finish strong. I hate every team from Houston, so I would love to see us beat up on the Dynamo. Their logo and their colors remind me of the Astros, so I just call them cheaters and let's beat them. Although LAFC gets San Jose, who are playing for nothing and are also owned by John Fisher. So who knows what they're going to do? They're probably going to pack up and not let the fans on the field and are not tell the away fans to travel and tell their players that they have to leave right after the game.
Yeah, I didn't put their goal differential on there for a reason, because it would have made you very upset.
Yeah.
Anyways,
enough of being upset. It's time to rant and talk some shit. But before we do that, as always, Andrew Straub, it is time for Americans Abroad.
So, I have feelings here. You had your friendlies this week. An okay win against Panama, a very lackluster and empty game against Mexico. We're just trying to adapt to a new system. I'm not worried about it. Obviously, we could tell by the pundits that they are scared poopless, but I feel like that's just because their buddy isn't head coaching the U.S. anymore, but that's just my thoughts on things.
I mean, dude, you out here doing the celebration.
I don't like American pundits with a passion, and
Me
you know
either.
this.
Same here. Shout out to Taylor Twellman. I like you.
Shout out to Taylor Twellman because he's very good. And also, who am I thinking of, Ken?
Hercules Gomez.
The other one.
Cal Martino.
Sure.
Tim Howard.
No. Anyways, we're moving on. Just an okay. I wasn't expecting to see Stu Holden. Thank you, Sean Marzensky. That's what I was waiting for.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There's like 4 American pundits that I like: Hercules Gomez, Stu Holden, Taylor Twellman. And I honestly 3. That's about it. That's all I like. Those are the 3 I like. Everyone else just doesn't make any sense to me.
Bunch of wankers. So
I don't take these specific friendlies seriously. Maybe next ones, definitely the one after the third rotation. But this one I really don't have any thoughts on because they're getting to know the system.
Can I be a part of Americans Abroad this week?
Of course you can.
All right, tap me in. All right. Casey Keller, Alexi Lawless. It's my turn. Lil bro got to do John Fisher of the week. Now you're about to get shredded in Americans Abroad. You're clueless. I don't want to call you clowns because I respect the hell out of you. But I was pretty close. Pissy because we lost to Mexico in a game nobody gives a shit about. Sorry.
You're not wrong.
Pissy because we sent home players who we had already said, one in Christian Pulisic, who was not going to play many minutes in this camp because he's in the middle of his effing season at AC Milan, and he's going to get used the hell out of there.
And played he started every single game they've had so far, other than the Italian Cup.
Weston McKennie, who's injury prone. Who else did we send back? Fofana. Haji. Okay.
Like, these are players that are getting substantial minutes with their team.
Like,
you implemented a system and you practiced it. Who cares about getting potentially hurt against Mexico?
What we are fighting is 3 or 4 generations of American players who live and die on beating Mexico and getting barely out of the group stage. Okay? That is United States men's national team culture. Okay? Beat Mexico, lose in the first round of the World Cup, or the first round of the knockout stage. Okay? Mauricio Pochettino is coming in as an Argentinian, okay? A country that is more soccer culture in a square yard than 47 of the states in this effing country, okay? And wants higher expectations, demands more out of his players, and is going to demand more out of results when they matter. And he's actually been able to coach these players minus 4 fucking training sessions. I apologize for my language.
Like, the thing is,
do we want to win a World Cup? Then stop hanging our lives and stop hanging our results on a friendly with Mexico in freaking October. Do you want to win a World Cup? Then play the games that matter as we get closer to the World Cup and we actually get players in out of season ready to go.
Yeah.
Now he is going. I'm sorry, I keep pausing. Right now, he is going through his entire roster of guys, giving guys a chance, giving different guys a shot. He also wants to see what this team looks like when they don't have all the big dogs out there and all of the other guys have to step up. And you know what he learned against Mexico? These guys have not had enough opportunities to step up. We still dominate. And here's the other thing. We did two things in these two games that we normally don't do. We controlled possession. So come on. Get off your damn. I know she called me. I know whole name because I cussed. So Casey Keller, get off your damn high horse. Alexi Lawless, stop being the most negative United States men's national team pundit and actually support what the hell is going on, because everyone from within the team has done nothing but rave about this window, except for the two old heads who are mad because we lost to Mexico. Right now, maybe. I didn't like everything that I saw in the game against Panama.
He's unpolished. He needs to refine some things.
But it's a possibility.
Right. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think you look at teams in Europe or in South America. Yeah, are they going to play other South American and European teams during friendlies? Sure. But you know what? A guy's hurt or a guy's tired because of his season. He's not there. They don't need to be there because they know when it matters, they will show up with healthy, ready to play. There is no need to having these guys play meaningless friendlies because you want to beat a team that apparently you have pride over for some reason. It's a team, man. I know it's a rivalry, and I know it somewhat matters because it's Mexico. But in a friendly in October, 2 years away, a year and a half away from a World Cup, who cares? This is what we talked about going in this window. Pochettino setting his vision, trying players, and making sure that his system is implemented. You are not going to do that by absolutely thrashing this team to the ground because you are overplaying them like another coach did. This is the problem. There is no forethought in a U.S. soccer mindset is win now, and not think of the future. This is why a lot of our players are hurt because they don't. You look at these South Americans at the time. No, but they do that to preserve their bodies for big moments. And we need to learn that as a culture, or else we are going to consistently be injured and consistently be gassed when we get to the knockout stage rounds in these tournaments.
Not to mention, one of the weakest parts of this United States men's national team is when we go past our first 11, we get outclassed. Poch is trying to play these 12 through 23 into 27 ranked players because we're going to need them to actually win anything. And shout out to Poch. I won't call you Ponch anymore. Poch. For saying what all of us have been saying, those of us who follow this national team and want us to actually win significant things. He does not care if you are at a big club, if you are not playing minutes. Guys who are playing minutes are going to play. Matt Turner, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, Serginho Dest. If you're not playing, you better get your ass on that loan sheet and you better go find you some minutes, or your ass is going to be sitting next to me and Drew, and you can do a podcast with us while we talk about the World Cup here in America.
It's frustrating, but it's only frustrating because he is trying to change a culture. And unfortunately, when you try to change a culture, there are so many people that are comfortable in their old ways and think that if you just stick to it, eventually you'll get results. We have done this for 30 years. It is not working.
Then why weren't you all bitching about this at the beginning when they signed him? Because everyone was on board. From every soccer person to every non-soccer person. When we told them what Poch was, everyone was on board with this signing. One bad result against a team in a game that it doesn't truly matter because we don't need to qualify. And now all of a sudden we want to scrap the whole entire thing and we want to bitch about it. You don't deserve this guy. We don't deserve this guy if this is how, as pundits, we're going to treat these games.
You're absolutely right.
If this was a game next year, I would understand. Not this year. answer this question.
I mean, Dest is
here's going to be the thing, though. Here,
you say answer this question, and then you answer the question.
I'm sorry. Let me say this
Love
first.
you.
Here's going to be the issue with Serginho Dest and Anthony Robinson. Got it right for once. Only because you yelled at me all Saturday about it. Poch is not going to play with two wingbacks who are not coming back defensively. At some point as a country, we are going to need to accept that while it's great to have two amazing world-class wingers, we cannot play them both when we do not have the talent 1 through 11 that matches up against an Argentina, a Netherlands, a Germany, a Brazil, a France. I could run down the list. You can't do that. Now, what you could do is easily have Serginho Dest as the scariest 12th man in the world who can come on in a game, go up top, play as a winger, play as a fifth defender that moves up the field. But I do not think that you can play Robinson and Dest at the same time under Poch's system.
I can see that.
And our center backs aren't good enough for that either.
I will say the issue is Anthony is a good enough defender in his own right. He just never stays back. He always wants to push and push, which is his game, and I respect him for it.
And he's given the freedom in that Fulham team to have other three defenders cover him. When Serginho Dest is in there, we do not have that.
Yeah, they're not good enough. And he's not a good enough defender. Dest is not a good enough defender to do that. So I agree with your thought process there. I think this honestly comes down to, I know Poch wants to run a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. And I love those systems. You have to find a way to get Dest, not 90 minutes every game. I'm not saying that, but big minutes, because listen, when he is on the field, when he is on the field and he is healthy, he is a top 3 player on this team.
Yeah. I mean, at their healthiest, at their best ability, I mean, you're talking about, and I say this, I argue with this. Number 1 is Gio Reyna. Number 2 is Christian Pulisic. Number 3 is Serginho Dest. At their best, those are our 3 most talented players. So, yeah, we want him on the field. However, we lost the game against the Netherlands because we played Serginho Dest and Robinson at the same time.
You're right. We pushed too far and we got caught out. And
now Poch's system is different. It requires possession, which will help your attacking defenders because they can pick and choose then when they go. But there has to be a dedication to the defensive side that, I'll be honest, neither of these two players have shown.
I agree.
To be able to play together. So that would also have to be a thing together. You both want to play together, then you both have to make a commitment to cover the other one when the other is making runs, and neither of them have had to do that either. So that's tough to take someone who does not have to do that at his club ever and say, do it for the 2 weeks that you're here.
You know what the scary part is? Dest was required to do that at Barcelona and AC Milan. And both times he got benched and wasn't played because he could not stay back and play defense. And so this is why, while he is a fantastic talent and you need to get him on the field, I don't know if there's a way to get Dest to do that if he can't even do it for his club.
But
where he's training and practicing every day.
And I understand that. However, that is Barcelona and AC Milan. If Serginho Dest was playing at a Fulham, no offense, a Premier League team, but a mid to lower end Premier League team that will cater their system to their better players. If that was Serginho Dest, and it was Anthony Robinson, who was at those bigger clubs having that issue, would we be saying the exact opposite?
But you can't cater to both, is what we're both saying, and that's why there needs to be a shift here.
I completely agree. I think defensively, there's going to be a lot of chalk for the United States men's national team because the depth isn't there. I think the thing that is going to shock people for the United States men's national team is who those starters are on the midfield and the attacking side. We've already seen Ricardo Pepi get some real run. He's already talking about Mauricio Pochettino is about bringing in Diego Luna of the MLS. Josh Sargent finally got his start when he was healthy, right up top for the United States men's national team. But that midfield too, Busio getting 2 starts, Aiden Morris getting time in there, Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, and I know Jonas Musa got a good run too, but specifically Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, you're going to have to show not only that you're going to go play minutes at your club, but that you can stay healthy. Because if you're not fit, you don't fit Pochettino's system.
I agree. And I think it's also the fact of these guys at their best are the best midfield. However, we have seen, I wouldn't say with Tyler Adams, I think Tyler Adams was more of a health thing, but with Weston McKennie, he can just fall out of games.
Yeah.
There are games where it's like the 60th minute and you're like, Weston McKennie hasn't done anything with the ball.
Yeah, where is Weston? I agree. I agree. And Poch is going to take guys in form. So this whole argument that we had all summer leading up to the World Cup about which striker, it's going to be real simple. Who's scoring goals and who's playing minutes? If you check those 2 boxes, you're coming home to play. So that's all I got to say. I know that this was supposed to be a short show until we got to this part, but you have anything else?
Not really. I think that was a good show.
Absolutely. That'll do it for us here on the Straub Sports Show. We appreciate you rocking with us here on a Friday, a special little Friday episode. Our Guardians kicked us off a day, but we were more than happy to oblige that as somebody got to go to the game. Mr. 3-0 at the Guardians playoff run this year.
Buy me a ticket right now. We still got an hour.
My guy Roger at work said, "What's your rent? Do we need to cover it for you so we can get you into some of these games? We got to do what we got to do." But thank you everybody for rocking with us. Whether you were in the comment section this week, we were a little slower this week just because, hey man, it's Friday. Everybody's doing their thing. So make sure you run us back, whether it's on Facebook or whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Spotify. But we appreciate you joining us on the 216 Sports Network, whether you're on Facebook or one of our 5,000 strong on YouTube, the 216 Sports Network. You can find 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth, which will be making its return appearance very soon. The Jay Rich Show kicking back up as basketball season comes in and gets hot. The Rulers Minute with Rico McGee, every sport, every topic, multiple times a week. Outside Interference and the Straub Sports Show. Straub Sports Show, you can find us on X at Straub Sports. On TikTok at the SBSS. I think we have a new TikTok to go up. I think we have multiple United States men's national team rants to go up there. You can find us on our newly verified Instagram account at Straub Sports Show, where you can catch all of our Rapids interviews that are blowing up multiple players, and our quarterback series has officially dropped too. And then on Spotify, Straub Sports Show. Make sure you check out our friends of the show, Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Make sure you follow them on Instagram at Create Your Own Wave 2021, CYOWapparel.myshopify.com, and check out the fire that Austin is cooking up. And as always, Falls Rapids football team, we are your official broadcast partner. Coming to the PAFL. Schedule is up and posted. First signings have gone down. Make sure you follow the Falls Rapids Facebook and Instagram page. Check out those signings. Check out my interviews. Check out the stuff that's being posted. I cannot wait until we officially announce our home field for this year. Spoiler alert, me and Straub already know about it. Goosebumps, real big stuff going on there. Yes, make sure you check them out as well. Make sure you check out us out as well. Stumbling to the finish. Final shout out, Strabo.
Yep. Thank you everyone for watching, listening, however you digest this podcast. First of all, Mets are up 10-2 at the end of 4. Not dead yet. So that's going to be interesting to watch. And 2, tonight and tomorrow at least, outside of Progressive Field at what do they call it? Something Plaza.
Gateway Plaza.
Gateway Plaza. There will be a watch party. It is currently going on right now. They have a big screen. They have music. I and potentially Sean Rosinski will be there tomorrow for Game 5. It should be a fun atmosphere. It was a great atmosphere inside. I'm sure it'll be outside. I'll put the zip on. Don't worry. But hey, if you see me, say hey, say what's up. It should be a fun game, a fun day regardless. And yeah, have a good weekend.
Absolutely. Give them a high five. Tell them go Guards. Good luck, Guardians, tonight. Go get it. And let's go get it Monday, too. And let's take this thing back to New York. That'll do it for me and Straub. And as always, please remember to love yours.